How about this? A cryogenics centre is going to be established in Australia. It'll open later this year in regional New South Wales. It'll freeze dead people. As you know, this is how it works, in the hope that one day it'll bring them back to life. Already 32 people have paid up to $70,000 each for their spots. You better get in quick because there's only 8 left.
Suspended in time at minus 200 degrees and then brought back to life potentially centuries from now. It's the science fiction fantasy of human cryonic enthusiasts.
Imagine being in a young, healthy body and being able to do all the things you want to do with everything that you knew beforehand, and being able to do it again as long as you want.
Once the realm of film and urban legend,
Stage 3, reanimation beginning.
Cryonics is experiencing a global popularity boom, and more Aussies than ever are signing up for a post-death deep freeze.
Well, one of those is 37-year-old Elphie Coyle. He's signed up for this service and he joins me now live from Melbourne. Thanks for joining us, Elphie. This is quite extraordinary. One of the first things that strikes me there in that sales pitch is that you might be brought back to life in a young, healthy body, but they might be freezing a very old, decrepit body.
That's true, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show. The intention, obviously, is if we are going to be frozen at some point, is to have some sort of technology, hopefully way before then, that doesn't make it a decrepit body. But yes, in the worst case scenario, they might be doing their best with what they've got. So, nonetheless, I'd rather that option than basically just taking a role at what's potentially on the other side of life. So. Yeah,
so have you stumped up the money already, or does it get paid for out of your life insurance? How does the finances of this work out?
Yeah, the way that we're setting it up for anyone who's coming on board after it's set up will be done primarily through life insurance policies. But in my case and the other investors, someone had to start it and someone has to pay for the bricks and mortar to actually set it all up. So that's us lucky few.
Yeah, indeed. Now, tell me this, though. There is a bit of a problem here, isn't there? This is going to be in regional New South Wales. What if there's a power failure at this place at some stage? 100 years from now, it's all just, you're all thaw out and it's all over. There's no guarantees, are there?
It could be a war. There could be anything that could happen between now and 100 years from now. Absolutely, Chris. But the way that I see it is almost like a reverse on the whole idea of Pascal's wager. And I used to be a youth preacher and pastor back in the day, so I'm very, very familiar with the spiritual implications and risks involved, and nonetheless have still made that decision that even with the risk of something going wrong, I'd still rather have had done this than not. So.
Well, if there are these amazing technological developments down the track, they'll need some frozen bodies to deal with, so you might as well be in for it. This is the first time it's happening in Australia. There's hundreds of such cryogenic chambers in operations overseas, aren't there?
No. Actually, we would be, if my numbers are correct, it would be the 4th in the world, right, and the 1st in the Southern Hemisphere. So yes, there's not many of these.
A lot of people frozen in the US?
Oh, yeah, there's a great deal number of people who were frozen, not including Walt Disney. Everyone thinks that he was, but he was not. So he's actually, underneath one of the Disney worlds. So
it's extraordinary. So many little questions pop up. Like I'm thinking, what would you organise for your funeral? You can't allow yourself to thaw out. You'd have to be frozen straight away. So what are you going to have a funeral around a big vat of liquid nitrogen?
Yeah, well, my funeral, no matter what it is going to be a massive celebration anyway. I would much rather people be wearing colourful garbs than going in full black and grieving me too much, especially because I hope to come back. So I'll be throwing a very, very big party. There'll be a big party being thrown in my stead should I pass away and need to use this technology. Again, this is just a fallback. I'm a big proponent of, and I'm actually quite an avid viewer of your show. I'm a big proponent of the world being on a trajectory towards a knife edge. So, in my opinion, it's either going to work out that everything's going to be great and we might end up in some semi form of utopia, or it's going to go in the can. So, look, this is more of a fallback in case I do pass away before that time. So.
I'm highly sceptical, as I am about many things, but thanks for telling us about it. Can you just save a little clip, digital file of this interview, and if you do come back in 300 years, you can mock us for doubting you.
I just might do that, mate. But certainly take a recording, and I hope to hopefully see you on the other side. So
Yeah, indeed.
we'll see.
Thanks, Elphie. Extraordinary stuff.
Cheers, Chris.
Elphie Coyle there, who he's up for it. He's going to invest in this cryogenics coming to Australia. Fascinating, but it's all based on we'll never know what sort of technology we'll develop, and who would have believed we'd have half the things we've got now, I suppose.